First off, let's call the meeting of the Madison County Fiscal Court to order. Kenny?
Master King?
Here.
Master Barger?
Here.
Master Hughes?
Here.
Master Combs? Here. Judge Clark?
Here. It's a pleasure for me to welcome the leadership class from the Chamber. I've been involved in it. I think I've been day chair for Mindy, 16, 17 years or something. It's a wonderful class, and I think you learn from so many aspects of not only government but agriculture, everything that really helps you. So it's an exciting time. I hope you enjoy today. You're going to see a whole lot in a short period of time. Really, we need to spend a day in every aspect of what we do, but we kind of push it through and run you pretty hard. But you still learn. You'll learn a whole lot. So again, on behalf of the court, we'd like to welcome you to the Fiscal Court. And we will go on and get started with the meeting. And as always, you all have had a chance to look at the minutes of the last meeting. If there are no changes, no discussion, a motion would be in order to approve those as submitted in your packets.
Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. Treasurer's report, Glenna has that for us today.
Passed out the report. This is as of August 31st, 2013. The total fund balance on July 31st, 2013 was $5,788,050.03. The fund balance on 8/31/2013 is $6,167,949.12. Right now, 2 months, as of August 31st, 2 months into the fiscal year, we should be around somewhere around 17%. That does vary depending on when we get our revenues in. There's some departments, such as the road department, to get all the revenues in at one time. Our general fund revenues as of right now are 35%, and our expenditures are at 13.1%. Our revenues for our road fund is at 48.9%, and our expenditures are at 11.3%. Our jail fund revenues are at 22.1%, and our expenditures are at 18.1%. CSEP fund, the revenues are at 5.1%, and our expenditures are at 3.6%. And 911 fund, our revenues are at 21%, and our expenditures are at 17.2%. So we're pretty much right on track on all of our expenditures are right in line. Does anybody have any questions?
What was the jail again?
Jail is at 22%, 22.1 on revenues and 18.1 on expenditures.
Thank you.
And this is also available to the public in my office. If anyone would like a copy of it at any time, all they have to do is ask.
What's your head count?
285.
Is that all?
That's all?
So thanks, Glenna.
Bids have enough.
Okay, we'll go on into the order of business, and we're very pleased today to have Crystal Bader. She's here with Ombudsman, and we've been a very big supporter of that program for a long, long time. And we've got a proclamation, and I'd like to invite Crystal to come up and tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Thank you, Judge Clark, and all for making this happen. And thank you for making the rights of Madison County's nursing home residents a priority. October's National Long-Term Care Ombudsman Month, Residents' Rights Month. It's the time to focus our attention on the rights of the residents in long-term care facilities. Through discussions, listening to residents, education, dispelling myths, overcoming obstacles, this year's theme is speaking out against elder abuse. NOAA's ombudsmen are working to encourage residents, their loved ones, or anyone who witnesses elder abuse to use their voice and speak out against this serious issue. Ombudsmen regularly speak up on behalf of residents as we report abuse and neglect to authorities. Ombudsmen also work to reduce fear by helping residents and their concerned families resolve problems related to the lack of care so we can prevent neglect and abuse. We want everyone to know that all you have to do is suspect abuse to report it. Madison County's elders are valued members of the community, and this proclamation is evidence of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Crystal? If not, I'll read the proclamation real quick. Whereas there are more than 1.5 million individuals living in 16,000 nursing homes, 1 million individuals living in 50,000 board and care-assisted living facilities in the U.S., and with the number of residents expected to almost double by the year 2030. Whereas the Federal Nursing Home Reform Act of 1987 guarantees residents their individual rights in order to promote and maintain their dignity and autonomy. That's a good one. Autonomy.
Autonomy.
Excuse me.
That's close enough.
Whereas all residents should be aware of their rights so they may be empowered to live with dignity and self-determination. Whereas we wish to honor and celebrate these residents, to recognize their rich individuality, and reaffirm their sense of safety, as well as the right to have a say in their care. Whereas individuals and groups across the country will be celebrating Residents' Rights Month with this theme, Speak Out Against Elder Abuse. To emphasize the importance of recognizing and addressing the serious issue through immediate action, facility practices, public policy, and resident-centered decision-making. Now therefore, I, Kent Clark, Madison County Judge Executive, along with the Madison County Fiscal Court, do proclaim October 2013 as National Lawn Care Residents Month and encourage all citizens to join me in these important observations. Crystal, thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Crystal, what percent would you say increase from the prior year to this year?
I do not have that answer, but I can get that to you.
Well, just, a rough estimate of 10%?
I would say it's probably more than that. I would say 20
Yeah.
would be my guess.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is first reading of Ordinance 1308. This is a land use change for Herbert Rose at 2855. I'm going to read the description so you all can kind of understand what we're doing, and then I'll explain a little bit to you. Whereas the Madison County Planning Commission held a public hearing on Tuesday, August 20th, to consider a land use change request application from RC7 Agriculture to RC1B Single Family Residential. The applicant's request stated that their justification for the proposed change is the proposed land use map amendment is in agreement with the adopted comprehensive plan and presented a finding of fact that the property lies within the rural development corridor and is designed on the future land use map as being zoned and used as single-family residential. The comprehensive plan encourages development of this property as single-family residential and therefore recommends to the County Fiscal Court that the classification of the property involved therefore be changed from RC7 Ag to RC1B Single Family. We have kind of changed the way things go with planning and zoning. We used to have a public hearing here on every zone change, and they kind of tapered off a little bit, and we feel very comfortable with our planning and zoning commission. They do a wonderful job. I can't say enough about them. So we made a decision a couple of years ago that if indeed nobody showed up to argue the proposal either for or against, then we would just take the recommendation and go along with it and get like another step, kind of help people along that are trying to get a zone change without going through another month of steps where we had to have 2 readings. But we do have to change the map. So today, I'm going to ask the court's permission and a vote, need a motion to correct the zone change, the zone map to include this proposal of Hubert Rose.
So moved. Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs,
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Next is a resolution with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, and this is discretionary blacktop. We've been very fortunate. I've had a great relationship with a lot of governors, about 7, as a matter of fact, and great relationships with transportation, and we've always been able to get some, it's called discretionary money. It's money from the gas tax that's in excess of really what they've got, what they're accounting for. So they give it to counties that really work well on their roads. They keep their roads up. They help with state roads. So we were able to get $250,000 in discretionary money from the Department of Transportation, and you all have the agreement here, and got a list of the roads. And those are public. If anything we do is public, anything that we talk about, anything that's discussed is public. Anybody can walk in off the street and pick that up. So you all have had a chance to look at it. You've looked at the roads, and there'll be a couple of more agreements coming. We're waiting for flex funding in an amount of $277,000 that we should have by the next court meeting, and also we're doing some more on our own. So if there are no questions, motion be in order to authorize me to enter into the agreement with the Department of Transportation for the $250,000 for discretionary blacktop funding.
So moved.
Second it, and I promise we won't spend all that money in First District.
Thank you. I hope not.
I'd like to see the flex fund come to my district instead of, since Billy and Rogers getting in. No. So move.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Next is appointment of Board of Adjustments, and we've got one longtime member that health's failing just a little bit, and he doesn't feel like that he can do the job that he's used to doing, so we're going to replace him, and with the court's permission, I'd like to replace May Kirby with Wayne Pinkowski. Wayne is a really good individual. He comes to all the Board of Adjustment meetings. He comes to the planning and zoning meetings, and he's been real interested in getting involved with this type of county government. So I think he would be an excellent member of the Board of Adjustments, and I'd like a motion to go on and appoint him, if y'all are okay with it.
So moved.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Next, just met with Allen Company yesterday, and we worked out a few minor details, but I have the contract. We advertised for 21 days, as the law states, and we were able to, I'll briefly tell you about this, we were able to get $1.5 million to put the new entrance in out at the new middle school on the bypass, Caudle, and the county did it. The money was filtered to us, and we got it done pretty reasonable, and there was about $685,000 left in that pot. Usually it goes back to the cabinet, but we were able to secure those fundings to go on through Wilderness Trail over to Panur Acres and reconstruct. We've got a couple of real bad curves in there. We're going to take those out and put 16 feet of blacktop down, replace some culverts, put a couple of new entrances in. So we have advertised, and Allen Company was the only bidder. And at this time, it came in at, I think it's 600. Let me switch glasses here. I got 2 or 3 pair. $691,000. We had to do a design because of the curves and things on it. So it's going to be about 95% paid for. There'll be just a little bit. I don't want to say it's all paid for, just a little bit that the fiscal court will be responsible for. But I think when you can do $700,000 road reconstruction and the court's responsible for just a few $1,000s, then we're all in agreement that it's a good deal. And I really, to this money, I have to thank Senator Worley and Representative Mobley, because they were in office at the time we were able to secure the $1.5 million. So I would like, you all have copies of it, I'd like the court's permission to enter into a contract with the Allen Company for the reconstruction of Wilderness Trail. And I've talked to them again last night, and they're willing to start on it September 30th. We have worked up advertisements to let everybody know that the road will be closed for a particular amount of time, probably about 60 days. But it's a great project. It's going to help all the people out on the north end, the Panur Acres Colonel Road, all those individuals get to town, get to the bypass quicker. So it's a good project.
$10,000 are going to be our responsibility. How much is our responsibility?
Probably anywhere from 25 to 35,000, Greg.
That's this project that was in our budget.
Yes,
So we
Mhm.
budgeted for this
it's
project.
budgeted, yes.
Judge, is that I'm sure that's a firm bid from Allen, isn't it?
hmm
Was there any clause in there in case they run into any problem?
There's always a clause, Larry. Yeah.
Bothers me.
The reason it's so high, we didn't expect it to be that high, is the two bad places are solid rock. So they're gonna have to either blast or hole ram. We expected the project to come in about 550, but rock changes it. Excavation goes from $6.50 to about $14.10 a square yard, so it's very expensive. But yeah, they're sure that everything will be fine.
So moved.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Hughes,
Yes.
Master Combs,
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Next on, I've got executive session on there, but I don't really feel like we need it. And because we have such a wonderful group here in the courtroom, I don't want to make all of you all get up and go out in the hall and stand around for 10 or 15 minutes. So I feel like we can get by with that at this meeting, so I'd like the court's permission to strike that from the agenda. Is everybody okay with that?
Good.
So we'll go on to authorization to the possibility of buying a parcel of land. Real quickly, as you all looked around, you can see we've bought property. We built the new $6 million annex behind us, almost 40,000 square feet of office space. Bought parcels there. We've bought 5 or 6 parcels behind it for parking. Bought the Miller House. Well, we had the Miller House. We bought the Creamery building. Then over the last 15 years, knowing that a lot of things are going to come downtown, we've been quietly buying these little half and full parcels of land going down First Street. So now we've got, I think we're going to be able to get about 80 or 90 parking places in these little parcels we're now doing. Leroy and the road department are just finishing up the retaining wall. Of course, I talked to the people about buying it before we put the wall up, and they weren't interested. And all of a sudden, we found in the paper that it looks like it's going to be a master commissioner sale to sell it. So we're interested. The wall's up, but you can't ever get enough property around the courthouse. We're always expanding. Eventually, we'll be doing a new jail. Eventually, we might be looking at a new district court. So I'd like the court's authorization to allow me to at least bid on the property. I looked at it yesterday. It isn't worth near what they owe on it, and I guess bought 35 or 40 parcels since I've been here, and the court's always trusted my judgment, and I don't think we've ever paid too much. And realistically, I don't want to ask them how much I can go, because that would give some other bidder the upper hand. But if y'all trust me enough, I'd like authorization to at least bid on the property, but I promise I won't pay too much.
Where's this piece lay at, Judge?
It's the next house below the parking lot, yeah. It's a double lot. It's the 255 and 257. Well, it lays okay. It's just, it costs more to clean it up than it would, than the property will probably cost. It's got some big trees in the back. But it's another, eventually, 20 parking spaces downtown. And, you know, whether we use it now, but, you know, the next generation, you can't get enough land. So I think now if we can buy it worth the money, it'd be a good investment for us.
Well, I trust you, don't get me wrong, but I hate to say yes with an open check.
I've had open check about 35 times before.
I promise I won't cuss you if you pay too much.
I'm not going to buy it if it's too much.
That's,
You gonna make a motion?
oh, no,
Well, I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger,
I'm going to vote no.
Magistrate Hughes.
Yes.
Magistrate Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Thank you all very much. We probably won't get the property. Judge's report. Scott, are you going to give a report today? Or have you already done it? Okay, that's what I was going to talk about. But if you're going to do that, then I don't have anything else in the judge's report. At this time, we will accept comments from department heads. You can bring up iPad. Yeah.
I just wanted to take this time to remind everybody about our upcoming household hazardous waste collection event Saturday, October 5th at the Road Department South. We'll take the general household hazardous waste collection. I've got a flyer here if anyone's interested in having one. I'll leave them up here at the front desk.
Can you tell what all that consists of so that people will know?
Household hazardous waste, anything you've got sitting around collecting that is hazardous, old motor oil, fertilizers, that old mercury thermometer you might have still sitting around, oil-based paints. We'll also be taking electronics that day as well. Some items that we will not be taking, that's the better coverage, Magistrate King. Latex paints, which is your water-based paint, tires, ammunition and explosives, radioactive materials. Surprisingly, there are a few radioactive materials around our households that people don't realize, and as well as foam insulation systems.
Like what? What would be radioactive?
There are smoke detectors that have a slight ion radioactive part to them. If you read on them, they say, please ship back to the manufacturer. So, and most of the time you look at them and they're really old and you can't find the manufacturer. So they take a real special disposal. So.
Put that deep in the trash can?
No, sir. You find the perfect vendor. I call Veolia. Veolia still exists. Veolia will be our contractor for this event. Their North America garbage, their garbage area was sold to Advanced Disposal, but Veolia still has this hazardous materials specialty unit that still is in America. So, okay.
Thanks, Scott.
Scott, one more question. On our dead animal truck, I know we still got our old one running around. Is a new one?
The new one is sitting down in my office. You all are more than welcome. Anybody's welcome to come by and see it. I'm hoping at the next fiscal court meeting in Berea, the Tobacco Settlement Board and the Ag Extension Office wanted to do a photo shot with everybody from fiscal court. So I'll have it there, and we'll all go out or before or after and take a shot with it so they can have a newspaper article written about it.
You don't want to get it dirty, Greg.
It's too nice to
It would be
use right
bad
now.
to stand and take a picture and smell
It needs a
it.
radio installed in it and some logos put on the side of it, and we're ready to go with it. It's a shame that project has to go out and get filthy, but that's what it's made for.
That's what's
So,
made.
Anything
you.
yet? Any questions? Thanks, Scott. Mayor Carl?
Just wanted to talk about the CSEP exercise last week. I want to thank you, Judge, for being there for the whole exercise and going out with FEMA and all the dignitaries that were there and VIPs. Exercise last week on the 17th, which was a Tuesday night. We did our field decon graded exercise. Went very well. As always, there's some areas you can tweak and make better. We had 40 live patients that night. Had a couple things we were trying new with law enforcement and the coroner's office, and those went very well. Over 13,000 people played in this year's exercises between Tuesday and Wednesday. We had every school in Madison County play, whether it was public or private. EKU University had a couple things going on as well. All the hospitals obviously played, and EMS, fire. It was a really great turnout. Had 66 evaluators here. That's more than we've ever had, so they didn't miss much. We got the report yesterday afternoon. Our section's pretty long. I haven't got into it yet, but we had a really good hot wash, and I'm really proud of what everyone accomplished and all the new things we tried. Judge, you want to say anything about, you were there for all of it.
It's, they were just flabbergasted, and I think the interesting thing that a lot of people didn't realize was that the country, Turkey, is really catching some heat over what could happen with gas, as we all know, what's going on in the Middle East. And there were 6 doctors from Turkey that were here for the exercise. They sent them to the United States to, in 30 days, learn exactly all they could about taking care of people that had been exposed to the gas, you know, like what they did on the night, and they were flabbergasted. I mean, they couldn't wait to get home and start doing this. And then we had 4 of the top FEMA people in America there, and we had lunch with them. Mayor Barnes was with us, and Mayor Conley, and they're just excited. I mean, it's an absolute model program. It doesn't get any better than this, and these people have been involved. I know the assistant director, she was here with us in 1993 when we were building our EOC, you know, and she just said, I just can't imagine what y'all have done with this program. And it's Carl and his staff and all the other players that work with them, you know, and it's just, and like I told them, it's not something that they just do once a year. They practice this with tabletop exercises, training thousands of people out in factories and things. It's an ongoing day-by-day operation the year round, and they just do a great job, and they're a model. They're an absolute model for what they do, and FEMA agrees with me. I quote, they're the best we've ever worked with, seriously. So, Carl, congratulations to you and your crew.
We've got a great
Appreciate
team, you know, everyone pulls together, and that's one of the things they always say is, can't tell which firefighter goes with which department because they all work seamlessly, and that's because they practice together all the time. You know, we had 14 agencies at Field Decon, and unless you read their vest, their safety vest, you didn't know where they came from. That's how good they work together. So thank you. It was a great exercise, and like I said, we'll tweak some things and get better. We always try to do that. October the 10th, I think it's becoming common knowledge on the south end of the county, but I want to make sure everyone knows it. We're going to be doing a shooter exercise at Berea College on the 10th. So it will be a wild and crazy day down in Berea. We will disrupt things on purpose. The new president at Berea College is excited. He's participating. He's put off a trip he had planned so he could be in this exercise. We'll be moulaging up patients and students for it. It'll be a shooter-type exercise with some other challenges for fire and law enforcement and EMS, and St. Joe Berea Hospital's playing in the exercise as well. We'll transport patients to them. So that'll be a crazy day and a wild one, and we're looking forward to that. So that's all I had, unless you guys had some questions about the exercise or anything. Nope. Thank you.
Thanks, Carl. Anybody else? Dwayne, you got something?
Just wanted to explain, sometimes we make corrections to the regulations, just like the zone change, and you really don't understand how that impacts developer. That Herbert Rose property, he had the property sold to a potential developer. It saved him 60 to 90 days in this review process. So it expedited the process for the end user, for him to be able to get the project back to the Planning Commission for subdivision plat approval at least 60 days sooner than what he would had you not made the correction to that zone change hearing, because the zoning is approved. And what you approved there was authorization for me to change the map. So because the zoning was approved, it allowed him to be able to get on this next Planning Commission agenda for his preliminary subdivision plat approval, and it'll be approved by the end of next month, and he's ready to break ground by the end of October, where otherwise it'd be 60 to 90 days from the start of the process. So going into the winter months, that's a big issue for a developer trying to get a project up off the ground and get some kind of return back on his investment. So I appreciate that, and appreciate you making the change to that regulation, because it makes a difference for the end user out here, for the community to be able to navigate their way through the government process a little quicker and easier.
Dwayne, on our bonding on the streets, on our pavement, I know it's low, and we got some that where as percentage they get the buildings, the houses up, then sometimes they just got the base coat and it's years down the road. Do we need to look at maybe upping that bonding, that, you know, that sometimes I know they said in the past that it ain't been enough to cover the expense for the county to go in and make them blacktop it?
For the past 16 years since you adopted planning and zoning, we refined that process, and the cost of the bond or the letter of credit has been the accurate amount. So the problem is the costs keep going up. So blacktop today costs you more than what it did in a subdivision that was started 10 years ago. We make them put up a bond or a letter of credit that covers 125% of the total cost of the work left to be done, which is always just the surface coat, just that 1-inch surface coat. Problem is, with the economy slowdown and houses not being built as quickly as they were, it's taken longer for the subdivisions to reach that 75% mark, for 75% of the lots to have completed houses on them. And quite honestly, some of them, it'll take 10 more years for them. That's a dilemma. I mean, it's a dilemma we're into. I've talked to Mr. Robbins about it before. There's no way to really go in and make these developers increase that letter of credit or that bond amount from what we originally approved or authorized. The only resolution that I can see to it is to require, and some areas are doing this, where we would begin to require the surface coat of blacktop to be put on at the initial development of the subdivision, and then make them bond maybe a lesser amount to cover any maintenance needs that might come up with it. We see some areas doing that, where they require both the base coat and the surface coat to be put on at the start of the subdivision, with the understanding that if the road's built and inspected and is done the way it should be, the road should hold up anyway. The problem with the roads, many of the roads in the subdivisions that I know you've been getting complaints about, is they just have that base coat on, which is more porous. It soaks water in the winter months. It freezes, pops potholes in the roads. If you go ahead and require the surface coat to be put on the front end, it might eliminate some of that. You're going to probably get some damage from heavy trucks, concrete trucks mainly turning in there. We know that, even before they're 75% complete, we've got school buses and garbage trucks and snow plows and everything running over them on a daily basis. I think the bulk of the problems we have with the roads is the surface coat just being so porous it allows it to freeze and pop and create potholes. That might be our fix in the future. The current subdivisions that we have existing letters of credit on, we're kind of at the mercy of the individual that has provided that letter of credit to us, and we can either go back to them and say, hey, go ahead and put the surface coat on, even though you're not 75% complete, and the county go ahead and accept the roads and take them in, or continue to, the longer we wait on that, the more behind we're going to get. Now, the flip side to that is, from a developer standpoint, if he's not selling lots anymore, it's going to be tough for him maybe to come up with the funds now to go ahead and pay for that surface coat of blacktop and go ahead and get it put in, because the money that he's allocated on the front end of developing that subdivision, he knows now is not enough to cover the cost of the blacktop. So we're between the devil and the deep blue sea on that one.
I've got, as the subdivision I'm talking about, is out there past Westwood, and it's been developed for, I guess, probably 99% for the last 5-6 years, and there's still, sometimes dips, 2 foot deep, where it washes out, and the people's having problems. And I mentioned it, that we need to, if we put these developers in and give them the opportunity to build a subdivision, then they ought to stand by their agreement, and when they're 75% done, they ought to be there to pave the streets and make it more better access for the public. As bought land in there and they paying property tax, then they fuss at us because they think it's our problem when it ain't even turned over to the county. But it is our problem when we let them go beyond 75% of building the homes, and then now we're laid back and nothing's getting done. They have to fight the problems that, is.
That particular subdivision, we do have a $60,000 bond that covers the final 1-inch surface coat on that road. And I have sent notice to that developer and advised them they need to go ahead and get in the process of getting Allen Company or someone in there to go ahead and put the surface coat on that. And they're, their response is just what I had said a minute ago. Well, we're not selling any lots. They've already made their money on it, and now it's hard to cough up that money toward the end of the project. But push come to shove, if they fail or refuse to go ahead and put the surface coat on, then certainly we have the right to call that bond and use their money to go in and put that surface coat on. So, if it's the fiscal court's, if it's your opinion that we need to move toward that process, then certainly I'm open to that. I'm the keeper of those bonds and those letters of credit. But if it's your all's feeling that since they've received notification and it's not been done yet, that you feel like that we need to call that bond or that letter of credit, then I follow your lead on that.
Is $60,000 going to fix the road, though?
No.
Oh, probably not. And that's the issue. And with every one of these developments, if you have any developer that the LLC or the company that developed the subdivision, if they go belly up, we're going to be taking that letter of credit, and we're going to be like we've been.
We've already done it a number of times.
That's right. We've done it a number of times, and you end up having to take taxpayer dollars to finish up a development.
You're talking that we couldn't do anything to the bond that's already out there, but there's nothing says we can't set the bond higher for future development.
Oh, for future, certainly. We can go up.
I know you said that if we do, though, that could kill some of the development, but somebody's got to pay the bill at the end of and it's left on us.
Right.
Well, the positive thing is, in the last 3 or 4 years, we haven't had but just 1 or 2 minor subdivisions. The problem is the old ones. And then you have to look, too, when we started the subdivision regulations, and the blacktop was $29.95 a ton, and it's $80 a ton now. So that's a huge increase in it. So
It ain't getting no cheaper.
There are going to be a couple of these but on a new subdivision, Leroy goes out, like Dwayne said, he goes out and estimates the cost of the rock. We put 10 inches of rock, the 2 inches of base and the inch of surface, and use today's prices plus 25% on top of that. So there's nothing wrong with the system now. It works good. It's just we've got some of the older ones that we're going to have to ante up and fix. But we can possibly get some discretionary money to help with that.
Well,
The fix for the future is to require them to put the surface coat on the get-go.
And I agree with that 100%.
Yeah,
It's
before they ever
ridiculous
build
not-
the first one. Then it eliminates that liability, and you could still say, hey, put up a bond of 50% of the total cost of the 1-inch surface coat to serve as a maintenance bond in case there's a defect or there's a failure in the road system as you get the heavy construction traffic on it. That helps the builder and developer to be able to go ahead and budget all of that expense on the front end and not have to put up as large a bond or letter of credit, tie up their money or their borrowing power for as much money. So it benefits them some, makes them pay out a little more money on the front end, but overall it does what you're hoping to do, and that is to protect the county's financial interest, to keep you from having to spend out more and more money above and beyond, because blacktop costs going to continue to go up, and the letter of credit's always going to be not enough.
When can we make that change? What we got to do to make that change?
If it's your desire that I begin to do that, I will present it to the Planning Commission to do a regulation change at the next meeting, and it'll come back before you as a recommendation to amend the regulations to require the surface coat of blacktop to be put on at the time that the preliminary plat is approved.
Got one here on an urban road that's gonna come forth. It'd be good to have this in place before the next subdivision comes down the highway, wouldn't it?
Sure would.
Dwayne, when you said surface, okay, if that place is in that deteriorate before they put the final cap, they would be required to fix those
Well, they do.
first.
That's
Now,
right.
don't they?
And they do that now.
I'm saying if you put the base down,
Yeah.
Yeah, and Judge is right. Leroy, when they excavate the roads out, Leroy goes out and does compaction test on the soil. They put the rock down. He does a compaction test on that. If there's any failures on it, they fix it before he allows them to put the base coat. He does inspections on the base coat. After it's put down, then he goes back and does inspections on the surface coat. The other benefit to going ahead and getting the surface coat put on is most of the time the stormwater, the storm drainage system doesn't work correctly because we've still got an inch or inch and a half below the lip of the curb that keeps the water from even getting into the catch basin to get it out of the roads. I think it would benefit the roads more overall to go ahead and put the surface coat on, and that way the road, before they can sell their first lot, the road is built completely according to our standards, and then we've got a maintenance bond that's set up to handle any problems that surface as it gets more wear and tear from heavy vehicles.
I think what you're saying is right, but in the past, I've noticed a lot of the subdivisions, when you put that base coat down and you bring those big trucks in there, it'll pump.
Mm-hmm.
And I know where you're coming from, and Judge, you're probably right, but we need to be very careful with that. Because you know how heavy some of those trucks are.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll get in there and they'll turn back and forth and just pull up. So we need to be careful with that.
But we just said that the developer's got to have that road ready for the top.
Oh, I understand.
It's just bad. They're in business to build houses, and after the people moves in, then they have to drive on a road that's rougher than a gravel road. And they spending money buying this property, supposing that the road's going to get blacktopped, and then it never gets blacktopped, and here they are fighting potholes that they can't get to their house, and they still paying property tax every year.
Okay, I think we've come to a resolution on what we're going to do here. Let's move on. We've got a lot of things to do today if y'all don't
Need to
care.
vote on that to change that.
No, I don't think so, because I think that'll.
Has to come from them.
Presented to the planning commission,
Okay.
and then it will come back for a public hearing on the second reading of the ordinance. And so folks will have a chance to give their comments at a legislative report.
So I'll present that to the Planning Commission at their next meeting, and then it'll come before you as a recommendation on what their recommendation is. Okay?
Thanks.
Thank
Dwayne.
you.
Any other department heads? If not, comments from magistrates. Mr. King?
Just an announcement, Kirksville Day will be coming up in their neighborhood this weekend. It's Saturday, starting at 8 o'clock. They'll be having country ham breakfasts and different things, like yard sales from there at 1295 all the way down to Kirksville School, Old Kirksville School. There'll be many different kind of events people can take and enjoy the day in. One would be that on the volunteer firefighting, I'll be in the dunking machine, so if y'all don't like nothing I do, you can be there to pay to dunk me. So other than that, that'll be a good event. And then there's other events going on in our county. We've had several past spoon bread event and all that has just, truly, we're blessed in this county to have so many things that goes on that people has the opportunity to be able to get out and go to and enjoy their day with their families. So one other thing I talked to Leroy about the bridge there on 25 there at 421. It's a state project, but we need to maybe send them a letter. You call them the guardrail. It's concrete and it's all busted off, and it's kind of a danger. I think it's in their planning to later on build a bridge, but
It's budgeted to do, Greg, and they've got 5 or 6 letters in the file on it. They realize that it's going to be funded like the Hayes Fort Bridge. It's going to be funded by the feds are going to pay most of it, and then the state's going to have to let it instead of us. If they let us have it, we could go in and do it, be out of there and do it for 60% of what they're going to pay to have it done. But it's hard to rush them up when they're dealing with federal money.
it's just, I've had a few complaints about
It's bad.
they're scared they're gonna run off the bridge, so that's all.
Roger?
Don't really have anything, Judge. I just want to thank leadership for being here today. Appreciate having you.
And Bill Ray?
Yeah, Andre, that's the way I got my start, was leadership Madison County. So, y'all have a lot of fun, and you'll make friendships that will last you for as long as you got a memory. So enjoy your time together.
Larry?
I say when you was there, they didn't have pretty shirts like they
No,
do.
they didn't.
I too, we're tickled to death that y'all here, and I was looking at your agenda and so you're traveling to Berea next. That's my district, so I want to be the first to welcome you there, and be very careful. You may fall in love with Berea and want to move there. I did. But other than that, I'm just glad to be here, Judge.
We're glad you're here, Larry. Any comments from the audience? Anybody that would like to say something to the court? If not, the motion will be in order to pay the claims and approve the transfer.
So moved.
Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. I think we're going from here to the municipal building in Berea, Mindy, and we're right on time. So I will see you over there, and a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Yes.
All in favor, yeah.